Hello. The Divine Code reading for March 19th, pages 571 and 572. We're in the chapter, The Prohibition of Theft, topic number 6. It is forbidden for a person to steal from another, even if the other person had previously wronged him monetarily. This will be discussed further in topic chapter 4, topic 12. And we learned this in the Shulchan Aruch, Harav, Laws of Robbery, topic 1. It is also forbidden to steal in all the following cases. Okay, so in the area of somebody wrongs somebody monetarily. They built something and the wall fell over and caused damage to the person's property, to his neighbor's property. The neighbor then steals his lawnmower, as a way of trying to make things even. We're not allowed to do that. If a person was wronged monetarily, they need to go to a court. You talk to the person first. If you can't resolve with the person, take them to court and try to resolve it through the court. The person cannot take something unless it's their own object. If the first person steals the object from the second person can go and get his object back, assuming he can prove in a court, if it's brought to a court, that's in fact his object. But if it's not his object, if it's a different object, if something got ruined or got stolen, and the person tries to make things even by taking something else, the person's not allowed to do that. Other areas, similar type of things. And we have 3 different examples here of other kind of things. So we had 1 example, so we have 3 more to make 4 examples. A, the first example, in order to aggravate or anger the person, or to play a joke on him, but with no intention to keep the stolen money or item. That is, the only intention is to temporarily pain or trick the owner, and then afterwards return the item. So they're not playing, they're just sneaking around. The guy takes the lawnmower out of his neighbor's garage just as a trick, or for some similar reason, and he plans to return the lawnmower the next day just to play a mind game on his neighbor. We're forbidden to do that kind of stuff. And see Tractate Bava Metzia 61d. It is forbidden to steal with intention only to anger, or with the intention to return or reimburse. And the sages determined this from a verse in the Torah. In Shulchan Aruch Harav, Laws of Robbery, topics 2 and 3, it says simply that this is a Torah prohibition, but he brings an opinion, as Lechem Mishnah explains on Rambam, Laws of Theft 1:2, that it is only a rabbinic prohibition for Jews. It seems very clear that the first opinion, that it is prohibited for Jews in the Torah, is a more accepted one. And this is also the opinion of Rambam in Sefer HaMitzvot, Negative Commandment 244. Sefer HaKinuk, Commandment 224, and Rabbeinu Akai on Leviticus 19:11. Therefore, it is clear that Gentiles are forbidden to do this as well. Even according to Lechem Mishnah, which states that it is a rabbinic prohibition for Jews, it cannot be ruled out that this is also forbidden for Gentiles. So there's a debate as to whether or not a Jew is. There's no debate that this is not permitted for a Jew to take an object as like either a practical joke or for some similar reason, and then with the intention of returning it. So maybe the guy needed to borrow the lawnmower and he plans to return it, and we're not allowed to do that. We have to have permission from the owner. And the debate is whether it's a Torah prohibition out of the Bible directly, which would make it an absolute prohibition, or if it's a rabbinic prohibition, which there's some wiggle room, so to speak, in certain circumstances. Now, that doesn't change the fact that it would not be permitted for Gentiles as well, because anything in the laws of similar to the laws of idolatry, anything that's prohibited by a Torah prohibition for Jews regarding idolatry would also be forbidden for Gentiles, for non-Jews, in regard to idolatry. Also, anything that is in the laws of theft that is prohibited for a Jew would also be prohibited for a Gentile. And even the rabbinic prohibitions would still have logical reasons that would apply to non-Jews. So the laws are very similar between Jews and non-Jews regarding the laws of theft. So we see here that this is prohibited for Jews, and therefore we infer from that it's prohibited for Gentiles as well. Rabbi Zalman Nehemiah Goldberg notes that there is a difference between one who steals with the intention to return the object and one who steals with the intention to reimburse for the object, since the theft in the second case is causing the owner the loss of the actual item, although he will not lose any monetary value. So the person who intends to borrow the lawnmower and then pay for the lawnmower, it would be the second case. The person who borrows the lawnmower without asking and returns the lawnmower, that's the two different cases. The first case, the person borrows the lawnmower with the intention of returning it. The second person borrows the lawnmower with the intention of reimbursing for the price. Since the thief in the second case is causing the owner to lose the actual item, even though he will not lose any monetary value, whereas the thief in the first case intends to cause no loss at all, and is only forbidden to do this on a practical basis because it is an action of theft, or the action is one of theft. In the second case, that's where he intends to return the value of the item. The thief commits actual theft for which a Gentile may be liable to capital punishment unless it is merchandise that is ready to be sold. And that'll be discussed in the next, well, actually not discussed in the next footnote here, but it's in the Hebrew, I think. So if he borrows it from a retail store, or his neighbor had a for sale sign on the lawnmower, and the guy takes the lawnmower and he's going to pay for the lawnmower, whatever the neighbor wanted to sell the lawnmower for $100, and he borrows the lawnmower without asking permission, and then he shows up later on that day and he gives his neighbor the $100. That would be permitted because it's out of a retail. It's a retail thing. It's not ideal, but it would not be considered theft. However, if it's just his neighbor's lawnmower that the neighbor plans on using and had no intention of selling, then to borrow it and then reimburse the money would be considered theft. In the opinion of Minhag Kinok Commandment 224, that there is no commanded prohibition upon Gentiles for the act of theft and of it in and of itself. That is, if it's done to aggravate or anger the person, in contrast to forbidden theft, which is done for the purpose of causing monetary loss, seems problematic since all prohibitions upon a Jew in regard to theft also apply to Gentiles, explained above in footnote 3. So the question is, there's an idea that maybe it's not actual theft to reimburse the money, but it's a question because we have a principle that items, that activity that's in theft that's prohibited for a Jew would also be prohibited for a Gentile. So how is it possible to theorize that maybe it's not theft? And the action of theft itself is clearly forbidden to the Jew. It seems that Minhag Kinuk is following Ramban's opinion mentioned in footnote 3. In general, it seems that although there is no conclusive proof that a Gentile is liable to capital punishment for an act of theft for which there is no actual loss caused, in the example there, because the thief did not intend to take ownership of the stolen object, it is still forbidden. So, in the case where he's borrowing the lawnmower, maybe he's doing it out of spite, maybe he's doing it because he needs to mow his grass, and then he returns the lawnmower, but he didn't have permission to do that. It would not necessarily be, it wouldn't be a capital offense. It wouldn't be something that you drag the person in front of the court and go through it like it's theft, like it's actual theft, but it would still be in the manner of theft, and it would be prohibited. We're not allowed to just borrow stuff without asking and receiving permission from the owner. It's necessary to have permission from the owner, and maybe there's an agreement between the neighbors. They can work something out where the guy can borrow the lawnmower, and but that needs to be worked out ahead of time. We can't just arbitrarily walk into somebody's place and take his stuff to borrow it for whatever reason. In general, so there's no conclusive proof about that. There's a possibility, but in the area of doubt, we always go towards leniency in these areas. Even if it's forbidden, but we're not gonna make it a federal case, capital case. The second possibility: robbing or stealing any merchandise or money with the intention to pay back money. And that's Rabbi Zalman and Kimia Goldberg notes that in Yad Ramah on Tractate Bava Batra 16a permits this for a Gentile, and this will be discussed in topic 9, which will be in a couple days. And again, according to what was mentioned in the earlier footnote, this footnote 21 probably is more extensive in the Hebrew edition. So the robbing or stealing any merchandise or money with the intention to pay back money, even if one intends to pay more than the stolen item is worth, or to replace the older stolen item with a newer or better item, and his intention is for the good of the one for whom he is stealing. As discussed in Rambam, Laws of Theft 1-2, Shulchan Aruch, Choshen Mishpat, chapter 348, and Shulchan Aruch Harav, Laws of Robbery, topics 2 and 3. So the person robbing or stealing any merchandise, he takes his neighbor's lawnmower, and he's going to use it for whatever he's going to use it for, and he's going to replace it with a brand new lawnmower. The neighbor's got an old beat up lawnmower. He's going to replace it with a brand new lawnmower that's a better quality. Still, he's not allowed to do that. He has to have permission first. He can't just take the lawnmower, even though it may seem like he's doing something for. And in fact, it's not that he seems like he's actually benefiting his neighbor. But we're not allowed to do that. Or the guy takes the lawnmower out of the retail store, and he knows he shouldn't do it, but he needs the lawnmower for whatever reason. And instead of paying $200 for the lawnmower, he's going to pay the owner $220 for his aggravation. And we're not allowed to do that. It has to be done in a proper way. And the third, and I guess would be the fourth example, stealing an item without permission in order to use it with the intention of returning it, and even with the intention to pay for the time it was used. So he's planning to borrow it. Now he's not going to return it just like it is, but he's going to he's not even going to return it with a new one, but he's going to pay rental. He gets his idea. Okay, I'm going to take the neighbor's lawnmower, and I'll pay him $10 for the aggravation. I'm going to borrow it for the day. I'm going to pay him $10 to reimburse him for his time. That has to be discussed ahead of time. It can't just be done arbitrarily by somebody. A person can't just take somebody else's property, return it later with rental fee, and act like that's okay. It's not okay to do that. See Shilkut chapter 4 and Ha'amek Shealia there. This is considered to be one who borrows without the owner's permission, and such a person is a thief. But he is not liable to capital punishment. And this will be discussed more in chapter 7. So all these cases, it's not permitted. It's forbidden to do these things, but it's not considered a capital offense to do it, because the person's planning to return it, or he's planning to return it with rental, or he's planning to return a better item. Well, the better item, we're not actually told that it's not a capital offense, but it would kind of fall in this category of things that are forbidden, but would not necessarily be a criminal offense at this point. It's more of an aggravation to the person, to the owner of the item. There is no difference in the situations. Well, it says 3 situations, but we actually saw 4. We count the original one. Whether a person stole secretly or robbed openly, in either manners, they were all forbidden. And there is no difference for Gentiles in all these cases between theft and robbery, as explained regard for Jews, but Torah and Shokanor Kosher Mishpat 359-2, based on Tractate Bava Kama 60b, and also by Ritva on Tractate Bava Metzia 61b. So for Jews there's 2 different prohibitions. One is theft, and the other one is robbery. And for Gentiles, it's all under one umbrella of the prohibition of theft. And so it doesn't matter in these cases. It's forbidden if the neighbor is in his garage when the guy comes over and takes the lawnmower, or if the guy comes over when the neighbor is out of town. It doesn't matter. In either case, it's still forbidden. Thank you.